General Kwast. You may not remember us, but here's one of us, Henny Carlisle. You found her to be a great volunteer, and you posed for a photograph with her talking to the two colonels at the time. She needs you, and you need to follow the law, 18 USC 4, like no one here in Wayne County is willing to do. Your base commander has spent 8 days ducking whether or not he's going to receive a notice under criminal law, Title 18 USC 4, which says that he should have received it. Here is the law. That's the lady. Now here's the law. Misprision of a felony. Whoever having knowledge of the actual commission of a felony, I have 22 felonies cognizable by a court of the United States, conceals and does not as soon as possible make known the same to some judge. The judge said, no, I'm not taking it, or other person in civil or military authority. The FBI has sat on her kidnapping, in plain sight kidnapping. They've sat on it for 29 days now. So I'm out of civil military authority. The base commander has ducked it. So I'm going back to a wing commander that knows the lady. I can assure you, even if you can't quite remember everyone, I can assure you that you shook her hands at least 5 times in my presence. Other times perhaps outside my presence, because you recognized her as one of the volunteers. She's a 4'11" 3/4 lady that deserves to live, and she's being elder cleansed. And it's not, I don't believe it that it's happening. I know it's happening. I know it as an absolute. And so I'm reporting felonies related to her elder cleansing. General Kwast, you are a military authority. I am giving you this report under 18 USC 4 of the felonies set forth at the site under the name Bryant Kittrell. Bryant Kittrell is my grandmother's father, pictured there with my grandmother's mother, colorized by this remarkable woman. She spent almost 3 decades giving to the tax program her knowledge and her expertise that was above and beyond everybody else's, because she had been there and she learned it anew every year as it changed. But she's being elder cleansed by Dr. Jason Boyd, SMOC, who has made himself clear. You're not here to adjudicate that. You're here to get the FBI, Washington, D.C., the DOJ, Washington, D.C., to come save her, give her a chance to live. She has been kidnapped in plain sight. How do I say that? I say that because I had one last meeting after they cut me off, and I went and they got a mob at the hospital, a mob of 12 to 18 people. It took 2-3 hours. During that time, her greedy son crowbarred his way into her house to eject me because I was protecting her from this monster doctor. And then I became unable to get anyone to protect her. Well, I forced my way to see her one last time, and after 2 hours of them messing around, Henny was allowed to speak to me, and she put on a routine, an angry face. She recited repeated things that I had done. General Kwast, you know I was with her a lot. The reason was I was her housemate for 16 years, more or less continuously. When she got done reciting all the things against me, she had her head at all times down as though she was too weak to do anything but get angry at me for stealing her car, a car I had driven because she's had a stroke for 2 years. I had driven her everywhere. I had a similar car right next to it that was mine that we didn't use when we were driving her. General Kwast, she said she got her head up. It took a great deal of effort, and she said to the mob in 4 different places, 4 different faces maybe she was looking at, it doesn't matter. It was all hospital collaborators, conspirators that are elder cleansers. They're killing the elderly in the oncology ward. So I claim, and I can prove it. General Kwast, she said, did I get it right? Did I get it right? Did I get it right? did I get it right in 4 different directions. General Kwast, she was begging for help. The FBI Greenville, inexplicably, has sat on this. They have an open file. They called Mrs. Carlisle a victim. They know she was probably held hostage, and they're not doing anything other than they're working on it. And they said 27 days when I saw them. 27 days hasn't been long enough. What? She's a hostage. You go immediately to get her away from these people that have drugs that they are giving her. She has now gotten to the sedation stage. Rather than give her the chemo that worked the first time, they determined that this chemo might kill her. Well, guess what? She's stage 4. No chemo is a certainty of killing her. The doctor is up on charges if she lives. If she doesn't live, it's my word against his and his nurses who will lie for him. And we need to have Miss Carlisle rescued. So I'm asking you under 18 USC 4 to accept what the base commander, whatever his name is, it does not matter. You know about base commanders. They're at the end of their career. The base commander and the staff JAG have ducked a former U.S. Air Force paralegal who's a local attorney of at least a decade. She's been out, and she could not get them to return the call other than some sergeant, but nowhere could she ever talk to the staff judge advocate. They can't say she wasn't professional. Yes, when I got on the phone, I told them off. They have basically wasted 8 days of Henny's life, 8 days of Henny having a chance to get alive. We need for you to report this in a manner that wakes up the Civil Rights Division of the DOJ, that a 3-star general cares about Henny to a degree that they're not going to get away with just sitting on their hands like the FBI did. So look at Bryant Kittrell. This man, he's my great-grandfather. Where is he? There he is. I apologize. He's my great-grandfather, Bryant Kittrell. I think there's 2 or 3 with that name, but none with a colorized picture by Henny Carlisle. Look at that. Take these 22 felonies as you're required as a military authority to take it, particularly since you do have a nexus to this Air Force base. You know her well. You shook her hand at least 5 times. You shook my hand 4 times, but not because I was a volunteer, but I was basically her constant presence, almost constant, and I was there 4 of the times. Actually, the 5th time she got the award, and I was there. So, General Kwast, I beg of you, take this seriously. Take this as a human emergency. She may die at any moment. And if you would move quickly, maybe she won't. I want you to try to force the Civil Rights Division to correct the actions that's shown on the thread of the FBI Greenville of doing nothing for a possible hostage, a possible kidnapping in plain sight. She is now under sedation. General Kwast, there are 3 steps to elder cleansing. First step was get control of their property. Well, the son had a power of attorney from her last illness, and he used it. He has control of everything, and he's probably selling it off right now. General Kwast, the second step is to seclude her. I have been secluded since April 15th, and I've been trying to get the authorities to work, but the police helped him secure the house with his crowbar. The local police, the sheriff's department had a sheriff's sergeant, deputy sergeant, slugged me by surprise when I was alone in the front room of the clerk's office with the clerk watching. The clerk is evidently involved in this because he had a duty to tell them that the man assaulted me. Instead, he allowed me to be arrested. And I never was charged at the first appearance. Everyone got a first appearance but me. They threw me out because they had beaten me up unlawfully, feloniously, federal felony. And I don't know how it can extend to all these people, but evidently Wayne County is an elder cleansing county. The Wayne Memorial Hospital has an elder cleansing group that are protecting Dr. Jason Boyd of SMOC, the cancer place that's so famous. But you're not here to investigate. You're here to report and to alert them that Henny her life is almost extinguished. They can turn up the sedation anytime they want. She needs to be rescued. She needs to be withdrawn from the heavy sedation, and then she needs to have the chemo. Yes, it might kill her, but it's the only chance she has because she's stage 4, and she was stage 4 when she took the first chemo, and he had allowed her liver to go into failure before he got around to getting the thing moving, and only got it moving 10 days faster because I demanded it. They were going to wait 10 more days. This is awful. This is inhuman. This is not America. General Kwast, this may mess up your career. I know you to be a man that will do the right thing. And if it doesn't mess up your career, it will make you a superstar. Please take this report under the law. No military authority, no judge has the right to refuse it, and they all have. But there's a woman, and here's the law. It was passed so early that it probably was passed in the 1790s, but it's still effective. And I have reported it to you, and there's an implicit duty for you to pass it on. You need to get to the Civil Rights Division, use your authority as a 3-star general. They will quickly get you up to perhaps ahead of it or his immediate subordinate, and they will listen to you. Get her to out of the UNC area into ECU in Greenville, and have them, of course, do it. But you tell them she needs. It's a UNC problem that they're not willing to address. I've reported them to UNC. They've done nothing. So ECU Hospital Vidant Center in Greenville, get her off of the drugs, get her protected. She has to get withdrawn from the drugs they're giving her to sedate her. Normal people, General Kwast, get a morphine drip and get to stay awake. Well, if she was awake, she'd be pointing fingers. General Kwast, get her awake again so it won't just be my word against this man and every nurse that he's got in his office and at the hospital that are part of the Let's Kill the Elderly. I don't think, General Kwast, you're on that team. I believe you're on the American team. I believe you're on the Law and Order team. I believe you are one of the best officers I have ever met. And yes, I served in the military, and I've met some pretty lousy officers. But you were impressive. Volunteers, you were in favor of volunteers. And you said this. Let's move on in. How do I do that? Move on in. You said, let's see if I can read it. You said America is founded on volunteerism. General Kwast, I'm not asking you to be exactly a volunteer, but I want you to do what might well be seemingly inappropriate, except for 18 USC 4 that says you receive it. You certainly don't hold it in your hand. You go with it, you run with it, and you scream as loud as you can that this woman has served the U.S. Air Force as a wife and a volunteer for 60 years approximately. And she is suggested that she was being coerced and she was under coercion, and now she's under the murder edict of a murder cleansing cult that's in Wayne County. That includes the sheriff's department, the police department, the hospital, some of it, and some of the police department. It's not all of them, I don't think. And this stupid SMOC, Jason Boyd, run SMOC, Jason Boyd. I've been posting against him. It's done no good. Nobody reads. But she was a volunteer, and I don't think you have any doubts that if this were true, you'd do it for anybody. But this is a lady you knew, and I think you all probably spoke about the probability that Kwast was Dutch. She's a Dutch native, but she's been an American since about 61. 64, I don't know when. She got naturalized. She got naturalized as quickly as possible because back then that was the proper thing to do when you married a service member. And her husband served at embassies because he was a special kind of mechanic. She's been a special kind of American. Please save her. Please save her.